Welcome to Clear Conversations, Entrepreneurial Legacies with your host, John Sleeting, an executive partner for Clearwater Capital Partners. Join John and his guests on this exclusive journey behind the scenes of extraordinary entrepreneurial families. In this series, we will dive deep into the stories of John's guests, who generously unveil the paths they've walked, the challenges they've overcome, and the wisdom they've gained along the way. Throughout these conversations, we explore their achievements beyond mere recognition, disclosing the distinctive perspectives that have shaped their entrepreneurial journeys. We hope you enjoy.
Hello, and welcome to Clear Conversations, the Entrepreneurial Legacies series. I'm John Sleeting, your host, and today we have a fantastic special edition episode for our listeners. We are on site for the Clearwater Capital's 4th annual Supercar Show for Charity. We have over 300 supercars rolling in. Behind us, you'll probably catch a glimpse of those if you're watching on YouTube. If you're listening on Apple and Spotify, you're probably hearing the engines roar in the background. It's a really special day, and this is where the Clearwater Capital Foundation wants to give back. There's all the expenses for today are underwritten by the foundation, and every dollar of sponsorship, every dollar raised, every dollar donated is going to 3 very special charities, and you're going to hear from those charities throughout this time. We couldn't do this without our sponsors and just the community showing up in order to give back. So there's a lot more information that you can find online, but we're going to go ahead and start out this morning with Katie Berganske, who is the Chief Revenue Officer for Clearwater Capital Partners. And so, Katie, welcome. Welcome to this special day.
Thank you. Yay. This is such a fun day. I'm so excited to always be a part of it.
It's fantastic. Well, and given all your work on these podcasts, where people don't hear from you and right? They know your voice from the intro on the podcast, right? But now they get to actually see you, and you get to be behind the microphone here too.
Yeah, I don't really know how I feel about that exactly, but it's a lot of fun.
Well, and this is a lot of work. So a lot of people would think about your Chief Revenue Officer. It's about the innovation. It's about the new services that we continue to add to serve the wonderful families that we serve. We couldn't do this without those families, right? And the people that trust us. And frankly, a lot of them have inspired the work behind the foundation. But this isn't about revenue. Some people look at this and go, this is an expense. Why go through all the work? You know, financially, the team's attention. But this is given back into the community. We look at it as an investment. So tell our listeners, why is this day so special for you personally and for our team as well?
Well, I think you started it out really great. Maybe even took some of my words. This is really all about investing in the community. We love having the opportunity to work alongside some amazing clients, and we feel blessed to be able to extend that work even further by doing these philanthropic type of engagements. And this is the main one, the big one, and it's super exciting. But then, what does it mean to me? When I started with Clearwater Capital Partners, it was really important for me to be a part of an organization that cared about that corporate philanthropic responsibility, to be giving into the community in really big ways, in multiple ways. This is just one of them, but our foundation is that hub for us to do all these great things. I don't think you mentioned in the beginning, but our firm gives back a percentage of gross revenue into the foundation every single year. It's such a great thing. On top of that, we have employees that can take advantage of employee matching, so they can make a bigger impact into the organizations that are really near and dear to them, and that's fantastic. And so using that as a tool to drive change and to have or provide life-changing opportunities and experiences is incredible. It's incredible.
Well, and I love the fact that you brought that up, because when we talk about the team members, I mean, they're giving of their time, talent, treasure, right? They are spending a lot of hours, and a lot of hours outside of the day job, right?
Yes.
That is serving the families that we're serving. So they're giving their time in that. They're serving, they're energized by this. But then that matching program, right, that we feel great about, because we end up matching, I think currently we keep increasing it as time passes. But when our team members say, here's something that's near and dear to my heart, we're matching that up to $1,000 in what they're doing, and we're doubling that effort for what's important to them personally, in addition to what they're doing and giving back to organizations.
Doubling the impact.
Doubling the impact.
How cool is that?
Right, which is what
cool.
today's about, right?
Yes.
We can just write checks on behalf of the foundation, but bringing together a community of people. A lot of our clients, individuals that we work with that are bringing their cars over today and just having a fun day of it and having that multiplying effect, right? Saying that we could just write checks, but we could put on a day like today and give multiples of those checks that we're writing.
Well, and it goes even further than that, John. So the 3 charities, the 3 charitable beneficiaries that are part of this show now have the opportunity to get just massive exposure too. So it's not even just the fundraising effort, bringing the community together, it's giving these organizations the opportunity to get such great exposure to extend their own brand, which is going to help them continue down their journey of living their mission.
Yeah, but we have Bob Berk that's standing in the wings here too, that I'm going to bring in to go into more depth on a giving heart. But today wouldn't happen without you, Katie. So thank you again on behalf of the team, all the work and the effort. So now you can go enjoy the cars and appreciate everything that you're doing too. All right?
All right, have a great day.
Bob, come on in. Come on in. It's all warmed up.
I'll let you know.
Seats here. Great to see you, Bob. Welcome. We are live and going here in the discussion. So good morning and welcome. And you've been part of this now for the 4 years that we've been running. And
I think that's correct. We're here at the beginning.
Yeah, here at the beginning, and appreciate the organization as we've gotten to know you. James Chapman on our team, who this is his brainchild. I'll talk to him a little bit later.
Who's also on our board.
Is on your board,
yeah.
Right? And you've got team members that are here and being part of this. So we're so grateful for the opportunity to partner with and to give back and have Giving Heart as a beneficiary of all the activity and the fun that goes on here. But it's a real serious business that you're doing. It's life and death, and it comes into pediatric. Can you share with listeners a little bit of why you started a Giving Heart, a little bit of the backstory there, and what Giving Heart's about?
Well, as many charities or foundations start, our grandson was born with aortic stenosis, which led us into the world of pediatric cardiology, and we learned that it's a terribly unfunded area for a lot of reasons. Fully grown adults, if they need stents or they need valves, all those things are available because it's enough lucrative for the medical device companies and the insurance companies to know how to cover it. For kids, they're not. So none of these things are available. So our mission is to fund the research to get those things that kids need.
And so how does that play itself out then? Then you turn around and partner with research groups to identify and create stents, create research to how to avoid cardiac. I mean, how? Because the statistics are high. In preparation of this discussion, if I've got the numbers right, it's 1%. One of every 100 children is born with a cardiac challenge, and I don't even know the right terminology on that.
Yeah, and you can put those kids into 3 categories. Fortunately, there's a third of the kids, go live your normal life, it'll heal itself.
Okay.
Some kids will need some type of intervention and should live a normal full life. And then for about a third, it's acute, and it's lifelong. And most children who have open head surgeries, I think roughly 50% also develop some types of cancer and also develop post-traumatic stress issues, learning, executive function, social, which impact their entire lives.
And so you started this for very personal reasons. Your grandchild was affected by this. And so were you aware of this challenge before it became very personal with your grandchild?
No idea.
And I think that's, probably for most of the listeners, just not being aware of how much is affected until you're affected by it.
And if you go down the path and start talking to people, like everything else, you'll find somebody in your community, your family, who has dealt with pediatric cardiology in some way, shape, or form, because as you said, it's 1 out of every 100.
Yeah. Which is right. I mean, kids, and I've got 3 adult children, but I've got 4 grandchildren of my own now at this point, and we thank God all the time in terms of where their health is at, and continue to pray for that going forward. And yet, you just don't know. And we've got a lot of friends that have got kids with challenges, and so for families that are out there that that may have just received a diagnosis, may have received or have a friend or a family member, how do they even process that? I mean, from the very personal family side, if you don't mind sharing, of like what do you do?
Well, I think when it first happened, my wife's a clinical psychologist, so she handles that part of it. And most times the families are in shock. And so they really don't know how to process it in the beginning. And then once they say, okay, we all wish our children were born in, quote, normal. And so if there's something we're dealing with, fortunately, there are communities that people get outreach for, the people who are on the path ahead of them. That's not our work. There are plenty of heart foundations who do give that kind of support. Our mission is preventative.
Okay.
We want to try to get there. For example, we are now in the midst of a joint venture with the Cleveland Clinic and the University of Denver Children's Hospital, where there's this product called Sick Bay that they can monitor the blood and oxygen going into a child during their open heart surgery because they think that being imbalanced is what's creating some of the post-traumas. So we think we can eliminate that, but to get through the government cycles, we need 100 test kids. Each test is $9,000. So we need $900,000. So Cleveland Clinic is putting $300,000 up. The University of Denver Children's Hospital is $300,000, and we're $300,000 to multiply that and to get this done. And once that's done, we can go to the National Institute of Health for the large grants. So we fund early stage trials that have been filtered by our medical advisory group, some of the world's leading cardiologists, to test it for efficacy.
And so is you're raising the $300,000 then, so that the funding is giving heart then in that giving back to fund this research that's going on. You're not doing it in-house. You're partnering with world class institutions in terms of the research that's taking place.
Dr. Ziad Hijazi is the chairman of the Pediatric Interventional Cardiology Symposium. So they bring all the cardiologists who are dealing with kids together. So he's the chairman of our committee. So he knows we funded research at UCLA Medical Center. We funded research at UK in Bristol University. So because of Dr. Hijazi and Dr. Kinney, we know the work that's being done. We know the level of the team that's working on it. We know the chances of efficacy. So we have a pretty good success rate of using our donors' money to do good.
And so when you think about it in investment terms, right? I mean, you're making investments that have got significant returns on that investment.
It's interesting you say that, because one of our projects with Bristol is we're testing what we're calling angel philanthropy. Where we will own a part of the product. So if it ever becomes commercialized, the multiplier can be just fantastic.
And you end up with a virtuous flywheel that's taking place of here's the business, the research, and the ability to do good. So if individuals that are out there, again, they may be challenged with it directly personally, they may be listening and saying, you know what, I know of a friend, family member, how do I want to give back to this? First is like, where, from any investment, where's it going? Where's the organization going into the future to continue to do this research, and what are the needs that you need to help get the resources to the right place?
Money. People drive money. We are now what I'm calling going from 1.0 to 2.0. We're moving from a local-based Chicago foundation to national. We now have board members in Virginia, in Minnesota, and Denver, as we're starting to build out and make connections, because there are a lot of really worthwhile foundations out there that might be raising $100,000 to $300,000, and that's great, but we're not making the kind of impact we want. So trying to pull some of those together, as you said, to get that flywheel. So if we all give up a little, because we might be working on this and somebody might be working on that, but if we put it all together for the greatest impact, that's our next stage mission.
That's fantastic. And so being here 4 years now, and you also have some team members. There's a program too that goes back to younger people and just awareness and health leadership. And can you share with the listeners a little bit about what you're doing on the programmatic front there?
Well, thank you for that, because we have 3 levels of people here. Excuse me. We have our board members, we have our high school graduates, and we have our high school program kids. My day job is working with leadership teams, and I was asked to teach a leadership seminar at the Walter Payton College Preparatory School. And not different than what goes on inside of my work is a lot of the things that people call leadership is really management. So the Payton School, their mission statement is to create leaders for the future, but I don't believe they were. So we created a 30-student cohort that kids applied to from around the Chicago area, and we our contract with them is we get them to exercise their leadership muscle, and their job is to write their business plan, execute their business plan, which is raising money for the Heart Center at Lurie Children's Hospital. So at 16, 17, and 18, they're learning leadership and philanthropy. It doesn't cost them anything. They have to test in, get through our admissions committee. So we want to make sure they're good students. We want to make sure they can do multiple things all at the same time, and that they're coming for the right reason to do good, not get something on their college resume.
Well, and I think there's a group of young people that are here today too.
There's 12 of them.
So that are pitching in and helping out and to put this on. So when you step back and look at this event, and probably from the first time we even talked about saying we were doing this, and we thought your organization would be a great organization to benefit from it in the first year. One, I'm not sure we thought there'd be 4 years in terms of how this was running, but it just continues to build every year. What does today mean to you and back to the organization?
Well, what really it means to me is connecting with people like Clearwater, who's has a business, but they already have they also have the foundation and the give back side. The more partners we can get of like-minded people who want to do good in the community as well as do good by their clients, and everybody I talk to at Clearwater loves the company, loves the mission, and anytime we can partner with those folks, and just like us, every year we get a little bit bigger, every year this gets a little bit bigger, that means money to us. Money is our fuel, which allows us to do more research. So hopefully it's as good a partnership for them as it is for us.
Yeah, well, and that's why when we looked and said there's a lot of great organizations that are out there. There are, and yet at the same time you can't solve all the problems in the world. But we loved the innovative approach. We loved the care for young people and kids and people in need, and the desperate nature. Like I said, I can't even imagine if it was one of my grandchildren like you went through that was suffering through that, and you feel so you want to do something, and yet you'd feel a little bit helpless, I guess, in a scenario like that. So maybe I got to talk to your wife about it more in terms of things. But then you do step back and say, what can I do? What do I have? Well, we have our business, we have resources, we have the opportunity to give back. But giving back is an investment in a great organization that's going to have a return on that investment. And that's true with the philanthropic dollar too. And that's why we wanted the partnership and the relationship, because we love innovation, we love disruptive technology, we love investing into that from the business side of what we do. But why should it be different when we're applying it to a philanthropic dollar and making the right investments? And we think your organization's fantastic.
And James has joined our board, so we're connected to Clearwater that way. And I'm proud as heck is that every dollar we raise, we do not have any employees. We're an entire volunteer team, and every dollar we raise has turned into $3.80 by matching grants.
Wow.
So when people want to give money to make sure it's doing good, we have no administrative costs. It all goes to the work we're doing.
That's fantastic. What a great ratio, too, to have. So if listeners want to learn more about A Giving Heart, would they find that online?
AGHF.org.
AGHF. Alpha Golf Hotel Foxtrot.
Or A Giving Heart Foundation.
Back to my military days on things too. Right, the fanatic. Well, thank you so much, Bob, for the team contributing to this in terms of the time and the people that are engaged here, your presence as well. And we hope today's just a great success in raising funds.
It already is, and thank you very much for your contribution.
No, thank you, Bob. Appreciate it.
Thanks.
All right. So next up, we have Kris Salyards. Did I say that right?
You did. Yes, you did.
So welcome. You're the Executive Director of the Bridge Youth and Family Services.
I am.
Did I say that right, too? So Greg Davis is on our board. You've been part of this. Your organization's been part of this event now for the last 4 years.
Yes.
But before we get into this event and today, can you share with the listeners a little bit more about your organization and what you do, and people just getting their head around the people that you're serving?
Yeah, so we provide mental health counseling to kids, mostly kids who can't afford it or don't have access to it. And the other services we offer are intensive supports to deflect kids from juvenile justice programming and DCFS to not only preserve the family unit, but also provide the family the long-term support that they need to not ever have to get involved with those systems ever again.
And so, because we're numbers people, right?
Yeah.
So, how many people are being served, the number of families affected, the number of kids that you're working with?
So our direct impact is about 250 to 300 kids a year.
Wow.
With the family involvement, we're looking at 600 or 700 people within the family structure.
Wow.
Yeah.
And how long has the organization been in existence?
We are 65. 1965 we started, so we're coming up on our 60th anniversary.
Wow. And how long have you been?
3 years.
3 years. Okay. So you weren't here. So this is our 4th annual. Did you start right around the same time that we did our first?
Yes, I actually came here to meet my board members before I started at the bridge. So I met several people before I even started.
So you have a unique relationship with this event and this day.
And I'm not a car person, but I love this event. It's just so fun. And I actually drove in with the Supercars.
Okay.
And my daughter said, I don't think you're in the right lane. And I was like, what, nobody wants a GMC Acadia?
You're doing it wrong, Mom, right?
She's like, oh, God.
Well, and so from the first day, meeting your board members, being here at the event, over time, right? Not being a car person, but over time, when you step back and you think about this day and what it means, what does this mean back to your organization and the end families? How do you make that connection for listeners?
Well, being a beneficiary, it's so tremendous for us to be part of this, because the impact that donations like this make, they're so significant. We can serve 15 families on about $10,000 with not charging them anything at all. And that means kids get access to trauma-based support. They get access to prevention, suicide prevention, and and also with the program that deflects kids from DCFS, one intervention of ours costs about $4,000 from start to finish, but it saves Illinois about $150,000.
Wow.
So I think that we have partnerships with corporate entities like Clearwater Capital and with foundations like the foundation. It really allows us to reach deeper into the community, to really wrap our arms around those who need us the most.
Yeah.
This past year, we've really been attacking barriers. We've opened 3 therapy suites at the Buhler YMCA, so kids can access us without having to worry about transportation, because they're already getting services there. We have been...
Which is amazing, not having to worry about transportation on a day like this, right? When we look at these cars and the opportunities
that's
there.
the number one barrier for our families
Really?
is language and transportation.
Really?
So we actually hired a fully bilingual team to address those barriers.
Okay.
We are now working in District 15 schools. We are expanding into our full footprint, which includes Hoffman Estates, Arlington Heights, Park Ridge, Des Plaines. We have a very wide footprint.
Okay. And that's 5 or 6 communities in the northwest suburbs of Chicago then.
Yeah. So we're trying just to get out there, with our small and mighty team, to make sure that any kid who needs us can have access to us.
So when you look back to pre-COVID pandemic, during and after, I think there's a heightened sense by the world just in terms of mental health, very, very broadly. What have you seen transpire then over these last many years regarding the needs, and how is it?
It's pretty significant. The number of kids with social anxiety and depression are off the charts. The truancy is on the rise. Of course, kids stayed home for how many years from school? Getting them back in school has been a significant challenge. Okay. We've got the kids who didn't get the school setting as littles, and so now they're coming into kindergarten, first grade, and they're really struggling. So we're actually developing a new program with the ECDEC and FIND and YMCA Early Childhood in District 15 to put our therapists into those settings as well, to sort of help offset some of the challenges that the classrooms are having to increase the amount of education time instead of dealing with behavioral issues, right?
Yeah.
So I think that you could take a slice of the demographic and you can see exactly how COVID has affected those populations.
Really?
It's really interesting.
Right, and is there, the challenges that are coming out of that across the ages, right? I mean, we're not talking about kids in high school only. You're talking about younger children,
especially those kids,
really, that are challenged just more and more. And so that dynamic, right? There's a whole lot of things that contribute to where they're at, but then you're coming alongside them to help. So a little bit on that, a little bit more on the programmatic side, but you just said you're working on new programs to do new things, to try to innovate, but also serve in different ways. What does that look like, and how do you approach that in that work?
I think being innovative and flexible and agile in the environment, again, private contributions help us realize those things. So we work with so many partners. We go to tons of community partner meetings, and we listen and we hear about what their challenges are. Where are the gaps in services? How do we sort of figure out how we can use our talent, to really plug into that gap? And so and I have a phenomenal team. I'm just an ideas person. I can have 100 ideas a day and maybe one sticks, right? But I have a great team of therapists and professionals who, they're very, very invested in this community and the work that we do. And we just want to see stronger kids, stronger families, because we want our communities to be safe and strong.
Right. And in the end, right, I mean, stronger kids, the family unit, the community is better off. That's good for business. That's good for, growth. That's good. And you do end up with, and I was speaking earlier with someone on a little bit of a flywheel. It's like, that's just for people to step back and say, well, that's not my problem. But it is. It is your problem. It is your challenge if you don't have safety in your community.
Right.
If you don't have, good families, because that's the employee base that you're drawing off of. It's good business to turn around then and give back to make sure that our communities are better as well.
100%. I think we try to reduce bullying in schools with, increasing that psycho-ed that we offer, and just helping people be kind, be nice.
Right. You think it would be simple, right? Nice. It's like why? Right. Well, and again, I think I'm guessing now, right, that you would bridge back into the effect of social media on young people.
Yes.
So go there. I just the expression on your face. The expression on your face. So go right ahead.
Let me get on my soapbox. No, I think that in this world we live in, social media has taught us, has helped us unlearn how to be human and how to talk to one another. And we say things on social media we'd never say to somebody's face, because I don't have to look at you and see how it affects you. And then you've got kids who are inundated with all of the TikToks and the trends and you have to have this and you have to buy that. And when I was a kid, it was 17 magazine, and my mom would just be like, I'm not going to buy you 17 magazine. So, you don't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
But I think with all of the information out there, it's protecting kids from what is real information and what is trendy information,
right.
And challenging them to think about what they're reading and what they're learning and ask them more questions. But unfortunately, we do not have the time as a professional group of teachers, therapists, social workers, whatever, to really unpack, all of this content that they're being inundated with.
Yeah, just hit with. And that's, I step back and I even think about these phenomenal cars and these machines that are rolling in here. And some people would step back and go, oh, that's what I need. That's what I want. That's what'll fulfill me. And it's not. We had recorded a session a couple episodes ago with an individual that has their cars here and what that means to them, but it's not about the car itself. The car itself is not what's satisfying the individuals. And yet they got to step back and say, somebody once said, right, I can admire something without needing to acquire something.
Yeah.
Right? And to step back and think about that in the social media world, especially these young people, to step back and say, it's a facade that you're kind of seeing out there in the social world. But you can admire it, you can appreciate it, but don't think that is the standard by which you have to live, because I think it sets people up for failure.
Absolutely. And I think, it's just, we get inundated. Our phones tell us what we should think and tell us how we should feel.
Yeah.
And we as adults have some ability to discriminate what really is my opinion.
Yeah.
But I think when you're talking about 10, 11, 12-year-olds who are just forming their own identity, they don't know.
Yeah.
And so they connect to the wrong thing, and then pretty soon they're so connected. If they're not connected, then they're depressed.
Right.
Then they're anxious because what am I missing, And so it's, I tell I have 3 teenage girls, and I'm like, get outside.
Yeah.
Don't worry about what's in your phone,
Yeah.
and empowering. One of the things that we want to do is empower parents to say, you don't have to let them keep their phone. It's okay to say no. That's your phone. You pay for that phone. But I think people get really worried about telling their kids no. Like, what will happen? They're going to be the weird kid, And I'm like, no, you're gonna save their life actually, because
long time.
they learn a lot of stuff on the internet.
And I think for some people, it's encouraging to hear, even in your family, given what you do, given your work, given your profession, right? When you're interacting with your own daughters in that way, it's hard. It's hard being a parent these days. I'm so glad our kids are in their now early 30s, right? But we have 4 grandchildren that are coming up. And all of a sudden it's like, oh my gosh, the world today is different than it has been.
Totally.
Yeah.
And I even tell people that. Like, I'm so glad that there were no cell phones when I was a teenager. I may not have made it as far as I did. But, I think it's really helping parents really empower parents navigate when you're not parenting your kids.
Yeah.
Thousands of people are parenting your kids, and you are just there as an anchor. So how can we make you the strongest, most effective anchor for your kids?
Family. Yeah. Yeah. So if people want to learn more about Bridge, where would they find it?
Bridgeyouth.org.
Bridgeyouth.org.
Yep.
Okay.
And we have a Top Golf event coming up. It's real easy. Come swing a golf club on July, I think it's 18th, 19th. It's a Thursday. There's stuff at the table. Go to the website.
Well, we're thrilled you're part of this, the organization, the difference that you're making in our community, because that's why we're giving back. We can't do what you're doing, right? But we can organize a day like today to be able to give back, so you can continue to make our community a better place for the families that live here, and for us to live here as well. So thank you.
Well, we thank you very, very much. It's so incredibly helpful. You have no idea.
Terrific. And Greg is the most wonderful, nicest guy in the world, too. So we're thrilled that he can be part of the board.
He needs a plaque that says Ultimate Diplomat.
Yeah, exactly. He's fantastic. He's fantastic. Kris, thank you so much. Appreciate it. Enjoy the rest of the day.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. So Darrel Saldanha, you've been with us for the duration, right? You've been one of our lead sponsors since we started this, 4th year in a row. You bring your cars over. You're part of this. Your organization helps to enjoy the vehicles you drive, but also to sponsor what we're doing and the charities that are here. So Darrel, welcome. Thank you for being part of this, and glad you're here.
Thank you so much for having us. Yeah, and we definitely enjoy being part of this and look forward to it every year.
Yeah, no, it's fantastic. And I want to talk a little bit about the day, but first share a little bit with listeners about Midwest Pain and your businesses and your organization, a little bit of your background.
So we are a pain management and anesthesia corporation. We have the largest footprint in Chicagoland for pain management clinics and non-hospital based, and we have thrived because we take care of patients without opioid medications, which is the number one problem for patients looking for pain management, is they just get thrown a lot of medications that don't really help in the long run.
Yeah. And so, if you don't mind, a little bit on that, because I think a lot of people here, for pain treatment, and their minds immediately go to medication, right? And the opioid crisis in the country. So, you highlighting that is a huge deal in terms of removing what would be a mistake by people to interpret what it is that you do.
A lot of our patients, they are patients that are having a shoulder surgery or hip surgery or whatever orthopedic surgery. They get prescribed a number of narcotics, and then they get hooked onto it, and then they look for more, and then the doctors don't want to give them more, and then they're looking for it on the streets. So we try to wean them down and get them off of those things, and through a bunch of procedures and training and psychological issues that we address and those kind of things.
Yeah, when it's and that's something that hits my family closely in terms of family members that were affected by exactly that, from surgeries and then painkillers, and then developing into other addictions that were just tragic. So the work that you're doing to be able to help people
it's
with
God's
pain.
work.
Yeah, to help people with pain, because pain's a real thing. And
it is very much so.
And but doing it in the way that you're approaching it. If someone wants to find a center, one of your centers, because there's multiple of them, where would they find that at?
Find our centers, they have to go to mwpain.com, and then we have a central scheduling department who is very good, and they will. We are geographically located in very key parts of the city suburbs, and there's somewhere to be seen.
Okay.
We're very convenient.
Yeah. And so again, it was mwpain.com. Did I get that right?
Yes, M as in Midwest, W as in Midwest, mwpain.com.
Gotcha. So people can find out, schedule, get there, and do it the right way, and not run the risk of these addictions.
And all our providers are top notch. They are extremely well versed in this field, and they treat a variety of joints and spine and nerves, and we can pretty much address every sort of pain.
And so Darrel, when you step back from the work and the work that you do and doing that the right way, and then to sponsor an event like today, right? In the end, charities. I just spoke with charitable recipients, the beneficiaries, because when we write under the cost of the day, every dollar of your sponsorship dollar goes to the end charities in what's being done. So you could give to a lot of different organizations, and you do. You give to other organizations as well. Why is the sponsorship of today so important for you, along with Clearwater?
I believe in the cause of the charities, and I've been with James and his father a long time for investments, and I believe they have a noble cause within this organization. And this organization has grown tremendously since I've seen it before.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4. This is like you can't even get in here. Look at that. You can't even get in here.
Yeah, the lots. I think the registration had to close down.
I know.
Because we couldn't fit any more cars in the lot.
What do you mean we have no more space?
Yeah, we have no more space.
There's just physically not any more space.
Right, and the cars keep rolling in, and they just keep rolling in too, in terms of getting together in the community, and all doing it for those end charities that are benefiting from all of this.
Yes.
So you think about the sponsorship, you think about the cars, you look around at these different cars, you got a Ferrari hat on, right?
Yes.
Share with the listeners a little bit. You said it's a passion of yours in the cars. Share with the listeners a little bit what cars you have here with us today. You've been a supporter, not only with the sponsorship, but also bringing your cars and with some of your friends, having them come over too.
I have 4 Ferraris here, SF90, A12, F8, and Pista. I have 2 Lambos, STO and Urus, and I got 2 Rolls Royces, Cullinan and a Ghost. That's what they call it these days. And then I had my friends bring 2 Bugattis and some of their Ferraris.
Yeah. Well,
so we're here in full force.
Yeah.
Supporting for a good cause.
So we talk about passion assets. It's a passion of yours too.
Yes.
Have cars always been a passion from early on when you were young?
Well, I would say it this way: my son is like me, but worse. And then he loves cars like I was as a kid, but he's like more into it. And I'm just worried about what car he wants as his first car.
Right. So it's an asset. It's a passion asset. You'll love it. You're doing great work. Darrel, thank you again for your sponsorship, your support, your being here, the time, and it's just wonderful. And again, thank you for the work you're doing and participating in this too.
Oh, well, thank you for everything and having me.
All right. Take care. Enjoy the rest of the day, and go keep doing it. Seriously, thanks again for all you're doing too, Darrel. No, really appreciate it. Thank you. All right.
That was a good one.
Thank you, Darrel. All right, as we transition, with the sponsors and with the charitable beneficiaries, I want to bring John Chapman in right now in order to talk to us. John, good to see you.
Good seeing you,
What a
John.
day today, too.
Wow.
So a few things, right? For the series that we started in the first episode that we recorded way back when for this Entrepreneurial Series Legacy, it's a series that we have. But this day, right, that goes back now 4 years, or the 4th annual, I guess, in terms of how we're putting it on. What is today to mean to you when you step back and just look at
John,
how this has evolved?
What a journey. We started the firm 18 years ago. You came on 16 plus years ago, so you've been here for the entire ride. And to think about how it was just you and me and Jeff back in the day, and to have grown from that to this, where now my son's an adult and he runs this show, and we'll have 1,200 people here. I mean,
it's amazing.
Everything that was set in motion back when it was just nothing. It was just an idea. And to have been so fortunate that we've got to this place, and this is just the beginning.
Yeah, well, and the difference that it makes. I've already spoken with a couple of the charitable beneficiaries.
Oh, yeah.
And how meaningful today is for them. The resources that can get birthed out of this. And not just that, right? Because we could just write checks to the organizations, but them turning around, them bringing over. A Giving Heart talked about they've got a dozen individuals, young people that are here also volunteering and working alongside our team to make this a reality. so that the benefit could get more for the organization, but not for their organization, but for the kids and the lives and the young people that are being affected by it.
One of our biggest car showers brought a small collection of cars, rolled in this morning and said, hey, listen, I'm sorry I can't stay. I've got a family funeral, but my cars are here, and here's a 5-figure check for what you guys are doing.
Wow.
And to think, no one asked. He just said, I'm so impressed with what you guys do every year.
Wow.
And this isn't about us. And, we underwrite the whole thing. So every dollar raised goes straight to our charitable partners. And it's just really cool when you see something like that, the generosity, the spontaneous, where people just say, I want to be part of it. Yeah. It's really cool.
When we talk about, our why purpose, right? So remind listeners, what is our why purpose even of Clearwater Capital?
We exist to inspire confidence and joy. To live with abundance. A spirit of abundance, and to live with confidence about your finances and about what money means in your life. It's not the end all. It's just a tool. It's a means to an end. What is the end? What's the purpose? And that's a great conversation to have with people.
Yeah, in that living in a place of abundance, and this is abundance, right? We look at these vehicles to appreciate them, the machinery that's there, and realizing, for what it is. And this is where James and Samir and I recorded an episode, and we were talking about it. And what I loved about that discussion was it's not about the car. It's not about the car, right? But it's about the joy of the young people being able to see something that maybe they could never afford in life. Because we've got to realize these are very expensive machines.
Yes.
But the joy for young people to come out today and walk around in the crowd here and see the collection of vehicles that is now the largest gathering of supercars in the tri-state area, and probably even broader. It's just an amazing event that this has evolved into.
Yeah, really enjoy it.
And James's leadership, fantastic. It's great seeing our next gen team members participate in that, and as our team grows too. So as you look to the future of Clearwater Capital, but Clearwater Capital Foundation, you look at this and it's like, how do we continue to progress from here? Yeah. What would you say is, wow, it would be amazing over the next 5-10 years. Here's what we could do more of.
I'd say sit back and watch, let Providence do its thing. But we really have this spirit that every day, it's like we're just getting started. We just feel like the best is yet to come.
Absolutely.
You're in on that. Everybody's in on that. The entire team has that esprit de corps, that sense of that we've really got a lot to look forward to.
Absolutely.
So it's very exciting.
Well, John, thank you for checking in.
Yes.
The entrepreneurial legacy writing continues.
Yes, it does.
So this is a good checkpoint.
John, thanks for doing this.
Appreciate everything. Oh, this is fantastic. Thank you again, John, for stopping in. So now we have Kyle Sulkar joining me. Kyle, welcome. How are you?
Welcome.
Good.
Nice to meet you. How are you?
Sulkar Media. So a few things to talk about today. You're one of our key sponsors.
For sure.
Right? And you also have a car you brought over, right? For sure. If I understand correctly.
Yeah, that's correct.
So there's a lot of paths we're going to go down.
Yeah.
But the first place to start is share with our listeners Sulkar Media. What is it? What is it your organization does?
For sure.
Who do you serve? What's the kind of end clientele that you're coming alongside professionally?
Absolutely. So Sulkar Media is essentially what started as a video and photo production agency 15 years ago, turned into a full-blown advertising agency specifically for all things online. Okay. So our primary goal is to create a mathematical approach around advertising, and advertising meaning social media ads between Facebook, Instagram, Google, TikTok, etc. And we kept the content portion of our business to be able to make effective advertisements, because as you know, you're running creatives out there to make the best possible equation for...
Case in point right now.
Exactly.
Right?
So we kept that arm of the business, so a lot of people attribute that with us, but all for the fact of being able to get things done fast, efficiently, and being super transparent in everything we do.
So when you say a mathematical approach, what is the mathematical approach?
I think a lot of people are scared of advertising and marketing. They're like, I don't know, I don't even want to know what it is. And I'm like, well, it really is just math, right? With inputs and outputs. Like, what can we afford to spend to either obtain this customer or this lead or what have you? And, what's the lifetime customer value and all those different things that matter. And we could break it down on a piece of paper and say, hey, this is what we're going to do. This is our plan. And here are the key steps to get us there, whether that be the creative, the placement, the targeting, and all that good stuff.
Okay.
So I like to say math because it's just super transparent, super easy to understand. It's not some, secret recipe. It's very straightforward.
Right. Well, and everyone's looking for the return on investment, right?
Of course.
Everyone needs, that's
exactly
the business we're in. How do we think about, how do you optimize
100%.
the organization of everything that you're doing? So the people that you're serving, do you have specific niches, specific
For
type
sure.
of customers, geographies? I mean, what does that end customer look like to you?
For sure. We do express a pretty heavy emphasis in the automotive field, dealerships.
You're in the right place.
Car companies, yeah, this is correct. But we've transferred a lot to the medical field. We do a lot of stuff for
Okay.
surgeons and med spas and stuff like that. And then we also work on e-commerce brands, like doing things like Shopify, etc.
Okay.
So it's everything, all things online all the time.
Okay.
And,
So if people want to find you,
Yeah.
I'm guessing given what you do for
sure.
yourself too, how do people find you? How do people find your
at
organization?
Sulkar Media on Instagram, at Kyle Sulkar on Instagram for personal stuff. We do YouTube, all that good stuff under those same domains, and sulkarmedia.com.
Okay. So then, so today's event then too.
Yeah.
You brought a car over. So share
Yeah,
with
brought a
listeners
couple
what
cars.
you okay. So
Yeah.
share about the cars.
The new one is a 2012 458 Italia Ferrari, and then the other one's a 997 Turbo Porsche
Okay.
manual. I'm a big car guy. That's how actually James and I met years ago, and I actually surprised James with the Ferrari. So that was a good, I've been a car guy since I was a little kid. That's a lot of reason I was into business and kept wanting to push the boundaries. And it's nice to be able to have that come to fruition and hopefully inspire some other young kids today.
Okay. So now I'm going to ask you a question, a little bit
Yeah.
off, but so you bring up the manual component too
Yeah.
with your Porsche and stick.
Yeah.
So with these kind of cars, take me between. Because I don't even know what I'm talking about, right?
Of
Because I'm
course.
not a
Yeah,
car
it's
guy.
great.
when it
Yeah,
comes- So the aspect of automatic in terms of the transmission versus the manual, the stick side of it.
For sure.
Why? My wife would always say, you got to have a stick. Why would you not have a stick? You got to drive a car like that with
Yeah.
with a stick in it too. So help listeners a little bit that might not be in the
Absolutely.
market or maybe in the market for
sure.
looking at a new car.
Yeah.
When they're looking at that transmission side of it, how do they decide?
Absolutely. So I think number one is, are you using it to commute and all those other things? Number two is, do you really care? The reason
My wife cares. My wife cares.
Yeah. So that's number one. So the engaging part of the drive is obviously a huge component. The other part of it is the rarity factor. Like that car, in my opinion, I collect cars because I think they're good investments. A lot of people disagree, but that's okay. Comes down to math, right?
Right.
But there's certain cars that do have the tendency to appreciate, and other ones that don't. And manual, just by nature, has that ability that no one's really, automakers aren't really making them anymore. So as 10, 20, 30 years go by, there's naturally it's going to be smaller pickings. But to your point of actually why you'd want a manual, it's more engaging to drive, just a more thrilling experience. You don't have to go as fast to have fun, and those are just kind of the reasons. I mean, it's more of like the enthusiast spec. But yeah, I guess it depends. If you're going to be stuck in Chicago traffic every day, I wouldn't recommend it
Yeah, right.
if you could avoid it. And you can have a lot of fun in a lot of these newer automatic cars. For example, the 458's dual clutch. So that's why they're kind of polarizing, and
Okay.
I like it for that reason. Yeah.
Well, so were you into cars as a young person then
Oh
too?
yeah, since I was
And so when you started the media company, you said cars is a big area, a big niche for you then. So is
For sure.
that kind of just builds on your passion then moving forward?
For sure, and to a degree of the investment side, like I've had over 120 cars in my life. I've kind of always like bought and sold here and
Okay.
there, and like I like making things nicer. So the same reason I like making nice advertisements and commercials and videos, it's kind of like you take something that's beat up like a car and then you make it nice and presentable, and then you remarket it, and then you naturally have some potential appreciation or a delta there, so which is good. But since I was super young, honestly, it's really the key motivating factor for all this stuff. James and I talk about it all the time. Like, once you get that car, then it's like, all right, what's the next thing, and what do I have to do to get there? And it's an easy way to set goals and really have this clear vision of what's the next thing, which I like.
James and I recorded a session too, talking about passion assets.
Yeah, I listened to that.
There's
Yeah,
a passion that comes with that. The
absolutely.
energy that comes alongside that, and then knowing what you're doing, right? That this is an investment. It's a passion asset.
Absolutely.
It's not a depreciating car like I might drive, right? That is
100%. And what I say to a lot of people is, if you have something that's appreciating and it's insurable, and it's like a hard good, it's at least it's a little bit less risky. Especially if you buy stuff in cash, you can always borrow against it because it's you have the asset-backed financing. So it's one of those things where it's not super illiquid, even in some cases. So I like them as, I wouldn't say it's the best thing. It's definitely an alternative investment, but it's fun, and especially when you can have your cake and eat it too a little bit.
So what's the future for your organization then? What are your plans for the next 5-10 years?
For sure, and that's a great question. So Sulkar Media has evolved over time. Obviously, like I mentioned, we went kind of from the content perspective to more of the online ads perspective and merging that together. E-commerce is a big thing for me in software. We really like building our own products too, to kind of showcase what we can do as a company. And we've built a few different ones that we showcase, others we don't. But really making more businesses and making it such an easy choice for businesses, right? Because sometimes I realize, people are like, oh, we do social media, we do that. I'm like, what? Do you actually have your numbers on front of you? Like what you don't measure, you don't manage, right? So it's like, we like to go into a business and say, hey, you're spending X, Y, Z with us. We want to make this such an easy and clear return for you. And it's just systemizing those processes, right? And building, hiring more good talent and bringing, just, scaling things on all paths is definitely the motivation.
Wait, and I get the sense I know the answer to this question, but I'm not going to put words in your mouth, right? Yeah. But you're one of our lead sponsors here. You come alongside, you're like, you know what? This is a great thing to do. Why is today's event such a big deal for you to sponsor?
Absolutely. Well, number one is we want to give back in any case, any potential area we can. Number two is we've attended all of the car shows, even before James and I were super close. So it's kind of even like, it's completely aside from that. Number three is I think, I like to push the boundaries any way we can, right? And I don't think any two methods of advertising are bad or worse, right? If you argued with me that billboard is better than Facebook ad for a certain return on investment, I would say you're probably right. Show me the numbers and you're probably right. And I think with certain sponsors and stuff like that, it's like, well, if I'm willing to try advertising in this way, why not try it in this way? And it could be, a good thing, a bad thing. You never know what's going to come of something. And not that, you have to break down everything so granularly, but at the same time...
Oh, I love the numbers though, right?
Yeah, of course. At the same time, it's people don't take risks ever, and it's when it's such an easy thing to do, the opportunity's kind of gone, right? Yeah. So, I don't know, just, pushing the boundaries forward, and it definitely helps, having James as a friend to kind of talk me through everything and stuff like that. But, either way, we feel good about it, and we want to, the fact that you guys obviously, you pay for everything, and on top of it, it's to charity. So it's an easy concept to get behind.
Well, thank you again. Thank you for the sponsorship,
absolutely,
the friendship, the being here,
thank you so much.
Cars coming in,
absolutely,
the contribution. And again, where can people find Sulkar Media? Just
Sulkar Media on Instagram, SULKRMEDIA, and www.sulkarmedia.com, and then at Kyle Sulkar for YouTube and personal stuff.
So they can look you up that way and see some of the cars too and participate in that.
Exactly. Yeah, the cars are just a reflection of working hard in business and all just to inspire. So
if you do it well, it's the unavoidable consequence in order to have the fruits of that labor, right?
Absolutely. And, you can't underestimate the networking abilities of cars. That's what we were just talking about back there. It's,
absolutely. Well, this is
easy icebreaker, right?
Just looking around. Terrific.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Very nice to meet you.
You as well. Thanks for being here too. Next, we have guests that are coming in from Fellowship Housing. I'll introduce them here in a moment. Great to see you. Great. Thank you for being here.
Hi.
Thank you. So we have Heather Corins immediately to my right and Samantha Elston joining me. And again, you're from Fellowship Housing.
Yep.
The organization, local. Fellowship Housing has been a beneficiary of our Supercar event now for 4 years running, and we're so grateful that you're here.
Thank you for having us.
Oh gosh, it's terrific. So for listeners to better understand right out of the start, what is Fellowship Housing? What is the organization? What's it about? Who do you serve?
So we're a 2-year transitional housing program. We're a nonprofit, and we work with single moms. We're throughout the Chicagoland area, so we have housing in Cook County, Kane County, DuPage County, McHenry County, and we continue to try to expand our reach to help more single moms. So during the time in the program, during the 2 years, moms are receiving subsidized housing assistance. They're receiving one-on-one coaching with a family advocate, specifically around their finances. So we focus a lot on budgeting. We focus on debt repayment, savings, so that at the end of the 2 years, the moms are in a position to rent or purchase on their own. So they really have that long-term stability for them and their kids. Our mission really is to empower single moms to build a new legacy. So that's what we're working towards.
Well, this podcast is our Clear Conversations is our channel, but this series that we started, it's called Entrepreneurial Legacies. So that term legacies is important.
Yes.
So when you're looking at that for everyone to have a legacy, what does that word legacy mean to you personally, and then to Fellowship Housing, but to the women you're serving as well?
Legacy always includes the next generation. So when we think legacy, we think about the kids, we think about our future, we think about what are the messages that we're leaving. to those we love, to those that will remember us when we're gone. What we like to think of in regards to legacy for fellowship housing and for their families is that we're making long-lasting change, right? So they're not continuing to struggle. Their kids aren't going to struggle. Because of that, too, we launched a Legacy Scholarship Foundation. So we have opportunities for graduates and their kids to apply for educational funding when they go to college, because we want to change that legacy, be able to create a better future.
Yeah. And Samantha, in the organization, so actually each of you share a little bit of your roles then back and how you got connected with fellowship housing to begin with.
So I got connected. My mom was volunteering with Habitat for Humanity, and she met a former mom who went through Habitat for Humanity for her home and bought a home through that. So she gave my mom the information. I was living with my parents at the time, and we were just kind of trying to figure out how to get me to transition out of living with my parents with a child and successfully being able to provide for myself and my child financially on my own. So that's how we got introduced to the program.
Okay. So very personal coming through this organization and being part of it. How long has fellowship housing been around?
So we started in 1991. So we've been around for a while. We started pretty small, I want to say with 12 families in the Hoffman Estates, Schaumburg area. And again, just as we continue to see the needs, we want to expand our services and serve as many moms as possible. So now we're up to 50 moms. 50 moms currently in fellowship housing. Yep.
So do you have a sense from 1991 to now how many moms and children have been impacted by?
Over 1,000.
Over 1,000.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's also humbling, right, to step back in terms of the needs that are there and
sure.
what that and the effect. I mean, life is hard, right? Like life is hard enough, and people finding themselves in circumstances that no one wanted, and the challenge has been knowing there's an organization to come alongside them too. So having 1,000 lives impacted, but 50 right now that are currently at various stages, coming in new individuals that are different spots in that 2-year program.
Yep. So there's always a rotating kind of cycle of when moms come in, when moms graduate. We do have 6 moms scheduled to graduate. We try to do like a celebration graduation kind of brunch or lunch with an opportunity for the moms to really share their story with other current moms and offer that encouragement and just kind of reflect on their own journey and celebrate all that they've accomplished. So we've got one of those coming up later this month in June. We've got another one scheduled for later in October. So we try to celebrate those milestones and also give moms an opportunity to connect with one another and get that opportunity to kind of build a community, because we know that being a single mom can sometimes feel very isolating,
very lonely
and alone.
And the challenges that are there.
Yeah.
And so have you both been over to this in the prior years?
We have,
with us?
yeah. Oh, yeah. So I've been here the past few years, and it's been very impressive to see how it's grown, and just really fun to see all the cool cars and just how much people enjoy. Just a nice day of building into kind of the community and what we're doing, but also an opportunity to have some fun.
Yeah, and so when this shows up on the calendar, Samantha, over to you then too. What does it mean? Because you have a number of individuals here representing the organization and sharing with some of the people walking around looking at the cars or stopping by and asking questions about fellowship housing. What does it mean to the individuals that are here that are just participating, engaging in supporting this, right? And supporting to make today just a great event?
It makes me grateful. Grateful that I was given the opportunity to start this program, but still grateful that I'm able to be involved still and just get so much awareness out there on the program, because that's how it continues to grow, is just, by keeping going to events and stuff like this. So for me, it's cool to show my son also, who has grown with me in the program. He started coming, we've come here now the past 4 years. It's cool for him to see that and for him to show that program, it helped us to get to the point where we are, our life, we have that now because of that program. So for him to come to these too, also see these cool cars, he really likes that too. So
what are some of the misconceptions that might be out there? Some of the because when people hear, they'll cook up whatever story they have in their mind, right? Or maybe their life's experience that comes to mind. What do you want listeners to know about the women that are going through this program?
that if you take the advice and work the program how it was meant to be worked, it's successful. It really is. And it wasn't just successful for 2 years for me. It genuinely is helping me still to this day. You know, I tried my best to follow a budget still, but following those budgets, that's just something that's so important. And if you weren't taught that in school or something, that it taught me how to spend my money. It taught me how to have an eye on my money, and that is obviously super important when you're trying to raise a child and make sure you're doing everything that you need to do. Those budgets are super important. So that, I think it taught me a lot of resources with asking for help in certain times. If you don't know where the help is, you can always ask, you know, different resources that you can, for more help, I guess, more assistance too. The programs that they work with. There's car programs, there's housing programs, you know, for after. So I think it's just a really amazing program that continues to still provide for my life and make my life successful.
You spoke to community, right? And being in community and having other individuals that you can just have as a sounding board to bounce ideas off of, to bounce thoughts off, to think through budgeting and going, how do I do this? And I think, you know, individuals, you know, that may be in couples, they probably don't even realize just how much they use one another as a sounding board. But when you're trying to make those decisions on your own, to be back into community has got to be so supportive and empowering then too, to be able to have confidence in the decisions that are being made. Is that fair? Yeah,
and I think now that you say that, honestly, I think another part that the program really for me is that the friendship that I gained from it. Like you just said about when there's two parents, you know, you get to talk about your kids' school struggles or your grocery struggles or your bill struggles. When you're a single parent, there's no one for me to be like, well, how are we going to do this week? Or how are we going to do this meeting? So for me to live in a building with more moms like that and to have these events that we can go to get close to. One of the moms is still one of my closest friends, and our children were basically raised like siblings when we were in that program. You know, they would go upstairs and go downstairs, and it was really great. So to have a friend then that you can talk to about those same struggles, I think that's a huge part of the program. And it, you know, that's something that sticks with you though too. So I think that's just super important and a great part of the program as well.
When Fellowship Housing was founded on a Christian worldview and biblical principles, how important is that to whether it be the curriculum, the leadership, the dignity? I mean, how do those values actually come through in the service model?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's really at the core who we are. We don't require our participants or any of the moms there to subscribe to any sort of beliefs or practices, but for us, it's really just sharing the love of God and letting that kind of fuel and leak into everything that we do. And so a lot of the ways that we want to support the moms is just to help them feel honored, to feel respected, to live out our own values in a way that they do feel loved and seen, and that they're viewed really as just precious children of God, and that we're practicing that through just how we're caring for the moms and for one another.
Yeah, I mean, on one hand, you wish there wasn't the need, right? You wish there wasn't the need for the organization to exist.
Yeah.
But that's not the world, and the world's a broken place.
For sure.
So to have the organization to come alongside, to empower women and their children and that next generation, be the legacy into the future, is a huge deal.
Yeah.
Because without that, right, then the world is a much worse off place.
Yes.
So how would people learn more about Fellowship Housing? Where would they go to? And
the best place to go is our website. Yeah, so www.fhcmoms.org. FHC, Fellowship Housing Corporation Moms, MOMS.org.
Okay.
And they can, if there's a mom that's wanting more information to see if they can apply or, just get more information about our program, we've got mom stories there. We've got our blog there, so they can gather information that way. If people are interested in donating, there's a donate section. There's in-kind donations. There's just monthly donations and giving in that way. So that's kind of the hub of where they can gather a lot of information. They can subscribe to our newsletter. So in any capacity that people are trying to gather more information, that's the number one place to go.
Fantastic.
And we always say if you are looking for more information or just want to talk to someone, they can always call too. Our phone number is 847-882-2511.
One more time on the number.
847-882-2511.
Very good. Any closing thoughts then, Samantha?
The program's amazing. I couldn't say enough things about it. They genuinely, it's going to sound cliche, they genuinely changed our lives, and I'm able to have the life that I have with my 8-year-old now because we did this program a few years ago. So it's just really cool to see the effects of the program and now us living a really great life that was possible due to the program.
So I'm not stretching if I said if there's a woman out there that's in need and she's finding herself alone and trying to think through how to progress, that your recommend just pick up the phone and call the number that you just rewind this about 30 seconds.
Exactly.
You listen to the number again and make the phone call in terms of setting yourself up and your children for a better future.
Absolutely.
Thank you both. Thank you for both, and thank you for everyone that's contributing, supporting the organization, being here, your presence here today. We're delighted and really proud and humbled to be a partner with Fellowship Housing in the change that's taking place. So thank you both. Enjoy the rest of the day in the couch too.
Thank you.
All right. Take care. Thank you. Next up, I want to take a pause here with our sponsors and with our charitable beneficiaries and invite in Valerie Hogan. Val, come on in.
Thanks. Nice to see you, John.
Terrific. Stand up, sit down. Here we go. Because you dig in. A lot going on today.
Absolutely.
Val, you have been with Clearwater Capital a whopping 6 days. 6 days. Here we go. We go. And so, introduce yourself a little bit and where you come from because of the charitable philanthropic mindset. And just your reaction to today.
Oh, wow. Well, I let my son know, you need to get here because I don't know anything about these cars, but they're pretty cool. So loving it. I love the energy. I love just seeing the family day out where everybody's out enjoying themselves. My background is I was at the National Christian Foundation, love what they do, helping folks be charitable in a really smart way. So I also have a book and also a 1-minute radio feature called Wise Women Managing Money. So just love that folks are out here taking a look, having a great time, and being charitable in the process. What a great combo.
Well, and we won't go through your resume at this point in time. People can find that out because you're a licensed attorney in the state of California. You have your certified financial planner designation. So although you may have only been with us for 6 days now, right? You're a very accomplished professional in this space. And like you said, writing books in the radio show. As you look at all kinds of organizations, we're thrilled to have you as part of our team. Why did you choose Clearwater Capital out of all the organizations you could have said, here's the flag I'm going to plant and I want to move forward with?
Well, I love what Clearwater's doing. I've been around the space a long time now. I think maybe 8 or 9 years I've been attending the symposiums. So just really love the expertise and done in such a high quality way. So I just love the high level of competence, also just the warmth and the interest in charity and benevolence, and just the interest in helping families walk through what they're doing in a very strategic, thoughtful way. We're not doing things to do things, we're doing things toward a strategic goal, and that's to live in abundance and be charitable and love on our families and the people that are around us. I'm just connecting with other friends that are doing similar things.
Right, and having fun doing it in the process. And every once in a while I glance over my shoulder here too. The sea of people and the cars and being here where you can have fun with it, right? And giving back and giving is a life-giving experience, right? It's joyful at the heart of it and that sense of abundance. So when you think about the families you want to serve into the future as part of our team and how you're thinking about that decision-making process of the families that you select to partner with to help them think about these matters, what does that look like for listeners to understand kind of where you're zeroing in on?
I think of families are working with a lot, and it's getting complex. And they find that they've got good, excellent people around them as far as advisors, maybe attorneys and everything. But maybe those are in a siloed experience, and they want to start pulling that all together, pulling together with multi-generation, maybe involving second gen, maybe even down to third gen, where they want to come together as a family and say, let's do things on purpose.
Yeah.
What is it, Peter Lencioni, that says if you get 4 people pulling in the same direction, you're unstoppable. So think about if we were doing that with our families.
Yeah.
And what multi-generational, long-term value and just abundance we can bring to others when we get people we love all pulling in the same direction. So can't wait to work with those families that want to do that intentionally.
Well, and we have a lot of families, right, at National Christian Foundation, right, that utilize National Christian Foundation and the donor advised platform that it is as one charitable tool amongst others in the way, but think very highly of that organization, and that is a facilitating platform to reach some of the end charities we're even speaking to today. Can you share really quickly just what is NCF and a little bit more in depth there?
Absolutely. So National Christian Foundation does, I like to say 2 things. Basically, they are a donor advised fund platform, but they also have their gift planning strategy group where they're helping people to make illiquid gifts. And what does that mean, illiquid? It means they'd like to donate through real estate or maybe as a part of their active business. Maybe they want to donate intellectual property. They help people look at all the assets they have and say, what's the smartest one to do my charitable giving through? Or if I want to do charitable giving, impact investing, let's look at the total picture and pick off, okay, this one is the smartest way. Because when we're smart about it, we get to direct those dollars even more to the things that we love.
Yeah.
So,
and into the ultra high net worth community. Life is just complex.
Absolutely.
Life doesn't get more simple at times, right? Life can get more complex.
So
thank you for stopping by.
Absolutely.
Delighted to have you as part of this team.
Thanks.
Can't wait to see what happens in our ability to serve families together to achieve their goals, their objectives, and to be able to give back and do even like we're doing today too. So Val, thank you so much. Terrific. All right. Look forward to the next 6 days and 60 days and 60 years after that, hopefully, God willing, right? Right? Take care, Val. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Next up, we have another one of our key sponsors here. I'm going to invite in Cesar Marin. Cesar, welcome.
How's it going? Thank you.
Cesar's here from Perillo Auto Group. One of our top sponsors, multiple years here now in terms of being here. So thank you so much for
my pleasure.
For engaging.
Our pleasure.
Not just financially in the support, but you also have a number of cars coming over. But before we talk about those, share a little bit with the listeners. Perillo Auto Group. Who's Perillo? What's the group? What kind of cars you sell? All that kind of stuff.
Oh my God! I mean, it's Joe Perillo. So if you guys want to find us, it's joeperillo.com. We have 7 brands, I mean, he's been around for over 40 years, over 45 years actually.
Okay.
So he's been in the business for quite some time, and we get to reap the benefits from it.
And you've been with him a decade now, 10 years.
Yeah, I've been there 10 years.
Okay.
As of April.
Okay. So what are some of the brands then that you're represented in?
We have BMW, Maserati, Alfa Romeo, Bentley, Bugatti, Lamborghini, Rolls Royce.
Okay.
I think that's everything.
Well, and there's a number of those on the in the lot here today, right?
We bought some out here so everybody can enjoy.
Yeah. So what cars did you bring out today?
We have a Lamborghini Urus Performante, Rolls Royce Cullinan, a Bentley GTC, and everybody's favorite, the newest Lamborghini's edition is the Revolto.
Okay.
Which is nobody has right now.
Nobody has. So they need to call Perillo then if they want to.
Hey, if they want one, they got to get on the list.
Get on the list. Get on the list. Well, and so coming into today, and Perillo sponsoring it as you've done in the past, why? Why does Perillo step back and look at today and say, we want to engage with bringing cars over, but also putting money into it as a key sponsor for us?
Well, the cars are one thing. It's obviously the kids get to enjoy them, and that strikes hard for Mr. We call him Mr. P. And he always likes to give back to the community. So that's why when James initially reached out, since the inception, I said, yeah, why not? It's our neighborhood, it's our backyard. If you're from Chicago, it's all about who you take care of, and that's what Perillo stands for. He wants you to take care of those around him. Yeah. And the 3 charities are part of this organization.
Yeah. Well, thank Mr. P. Thank Mr. Perillo. Right. Thank you in being here. And when you look around, I mean, at these vehicles, right, and being in the business you're in, and the people that you're serving, you probably, and I'm guessing here a little bit, you have people that are different kinds of buyers that come in.
Definitely.
What buyers, what customer, what individuals that are looking at cars that give you the most joy in the work that you do when you're working with them to find that right next vehicle?
Man, it's funny you asked that question. For me personally, it's the future, right? So the kids, nobody knows what you're going to grow up to be.
Right.
So it's that buyer. It's for the future. The current buyers, you can kind of guess who's going to buy and who's not. But it's more of the future buyers, which is the kids that are out here.
The kids out here right now and being here and seeing
and motivating them.
And I had this discussion. James and I and another gentleman did an episode just talking about, okay, how do you? And they came back and like the biggest joy that we get out of the car isn't the car itself, right? It's the opportunity for young people and for kids that may never get the chance, right? Never get the chance to own a car like this, but the chance to sit in it and even walk up today. Right. And so many of the participants here today open up the doors, take a look inside, right? Get to get to understand it. It's that smile.
It's that smile, that everlasting smile you give these kids.
Right.
It hits hard. When I grew up, I never saw any of these cars. So when I got to the dealership, I'm like, wait, what? These are only on TV.
Right.
You can actually touch it, sit in it. And, the benefits of working for Perillo is I get to drive them.
You get to drive them too, right? You get to be over here with them.
Right.
So as you look at different organizations, again, I just want to come back to that. To sponsor, to give back to the community. What is it? I mean, being in the community, that's important, and you've highlighted that. Correct. What does it mean to be a good corporate citizen giving back to the community? Why is that so important?
It's important. Everybody needs a lift, whether it's $1 or whether it's $1 million. Everybody needs that financial assistance. And for these charities, that's where it starts.
Yeah.
And getting the word out. Social media is a big thing these days.
Yeah.
So we're spreading the word and helping them out, along with giving them a check.
Yeah. Because I've had the opportunity to speak to some of the different charitable recipients, right? We have 3 of them that have been part of this event for the last 4 years now running, same 3, and even just seeing their growth and how they're progressing and the difference that every dollar makes, right? As you know, we underwrite the entire expense on our end so that every dollar that's coming from Perillo and the other sponsors is going to those end charities, right? Anybody that donates anything is going to the end charities to make a difference. And from what they shared, the stories that they shared here with me today even, it's life-changing. It's life-changing for kids, it's life-changing for single moms, it's life-changing for young people with cardiac issues through the 3 different charities. It's making a difference. And so I do step back, go, wow, we're blessed with some incredible machines, right?
Right.
The opportunity to serve people and sell cars and what we do and give
keep making
back.
a difference.
And keep making a difference. And so we're so grateful for Perillo to come alongside us and to be able to give and support to these organizations.
We're excited to be here every year.
If people want to find Perillo, where do they go? And what's the website?
JoePerillo.com. JoePerillo.com.
So JoePerillo.com. They can find it, the different locations, the different brands. They can get on whatever list they need to get on.
Whatever list they want. We'll make sure we'll make it happen.
Yeah, no, terrific. Anything else you want to share? Or
I'm just glad to be on here, and it's a great turnout.
Yeah, well, I'll let you get back to the cars then, too, and hopefully you can sell a few to some people.
I got to make sure nobody's taking off.
Yeah, exactly. All right, you take care. No, thank you very much, Cesar. All right, appreciate it. All right, next up, I've got Melissa. Come on in.
Hey, John.
All right, so we have Melissa in from Kansas City.
Yeah.
As part of our Clearwater Capital team here and running around and doing a lot of work, but we'll take a couple minutes because you flew in and you're going to be flying back out, but you wanted to make sure that you were in town for today's event. So
Absolutely.
First, share a little bit about who Melissa is for any of the listeners that don't know, and then talk a little bit about what's going on in our Kansas City office.
Yeah, I'm coming up on my 3rd year with the firm, if you can believe that. And in this post-COVID world, as our footprint keeps to expand and we've got clients all over the country. I personally work with clients in 13 states. I think I'm up to right now. I'm heading to O'Hare, and I'll be meeting with one of our clients later tonight in Kansas City.
There you go.
But I didn't want to miss this. It's my 2nd car show. And so, like everyone, right, we start having a foundation conversation and hear, we do this thing, and we pull a few cars in the parking lot.
Yeah.
And to see what it's turned into is really fantastic.
Oh, it is amazing, right? Just it continues to evolve. And so painting a picture for all your friends back in Kansas City, right and across the country.
Right.
Paint a picture of what's going on today behind us.
I mean, it's pretty incredible. I've been shooting some video and sending live stream. I've got a son that's going to be a senior in high school, and he couldn't make it today, so he's having total FOMO, you know. And to that point, I've actually had clients outside of the area, and I've said, this is the weekend to come. Plan your Chicago weekend around the car show, because just the sounds of the revving of the engines
behind us,
and the smell of the gasoline on that entrance, you know, it's just, it's like the energy alone is pretty cool.
Yeah, and all for the benefit of the charity organizations.
Absolutely.
And the beneficiaries.
And to see the charities even get more and more engaged in the event itself, and you know, they have people out really speaking about what good that they're doing in the communities, and people recognize that whether it's buying the merchandise or just, you know, being here, that it really is ultimately to give back.
And to think about our team members then too, give a little bit of a glimpse. I mean, how our team responds to this. How are they, you know, feeling the energy that they build up? What does this mean back to our Clearwater team?
Yeah, well, I mean, it really is such a team-building component. So last year was my first car show, and one of my feedbacks was we didn't even get a group photo. We were so busy, you know, engaging with people and just making sure the logistics were all there, and we didn't stop to kind of come together for a moment as we're all working to make this happen. And so just even today, it was harder, I think, to wrangle our team because, you know, we were just so eager, whether it's just putting the sign in the yard and making sure that the cars are getting in safely and all the things. So from that team perspective and recognizing this is what we are doing our work for, you know, for the better good, and recognizing that just, you know, how people are engaging is so fun. And then just the client experience alone, you know, for them, if somebody hasn't been here, it just isn't the same until you come. So that's my I would say that's my takeaway to everyone, regardless of which state you're in. If you're here local, especially, circle the date.
There's a story that's evolved where in one of the first years, there's an individual that stayed at one of the hotels down the street, and he heard all the cars coming in, and to find out what was going on. And he loved it so much, he came back and expressed he plans his annual business trip to the area on the weekend that we're doing the car show, because he doesn't want to miss it. So he doesn't live in the area. He orders his life around, no, I need to be here for this car show every year.
Absolutely.
And give back to charities. You hit on the team aspect, the teamwork, the team at work doing this, but I think it's also a reflection of the team overall, right? And the way that we serve client families. You and I serve a lot of client families together, and how we approach it. I think it's really reflective of the team approach, but really gets manifested, and the team really gets excited about putting on this event.
Well, and even speaking of families, so like some of the families we work with they're multi-generational families, right? And so that's what you see even at an event like this. They're able to bring their kids out. You know, I mentioned my son even, you know, eager to come and participate, and just kind of, you know, the imagery of a car and what that means even from a financial goal, or just, you know, seeing what that could mean, whether they're a business owner or not. That's some of the conversations that I've had walking through the parking lot, is just these car owners that they find community in themselves. So there's these different elements of community that we're bringing together, which is pretty cool.
Fantastic. Thank you again for stopping by.
Yes, I'm heading over here. Well, and real quick, it's funny. So I brought an Uber here this morning, and he said, what's happening? And I'm talking to him. And so we started texting. He's like, I'll be back. So he just texted me. And I said, well, I'm on deck for the podcast, but come find me, because he's taking me to O'Hare. He didn't want to miss it.
You can find a car. Maybe you can get right in one of these cars, right? Too. That's here you go. Thank you again, Melissa. No, great. All right. We'll talk to you again soon. All right. Next up here, I'm going to call in James Chapman. James, come on over for a few minutes here. How you doing?
We're doing, man. I'll tell you what we're doing. We're having fun. We're little hectic, but what's a car show without it being a little hectic, you know?
Well, it's what a day. What a day, right? And I hate pulling you away from all the activity that's going on.
I could use a breather.
Is that okay?
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Well, so this is your brainchild. We go back years. This is your brainchild. So let's go back to the first inspiration of what started this. And before you do that, I just want to remind people, we recorded an episode a couple sessions ago, you, Dr. Samir Nasruddin, and we talked about passion assets, right? So I do encourage people, go back and listen to that episode. Take that in. There's a lot of ground recovery we're not going to repeat here.
Yeah, it gets a little bit more technical than we are today.
Yeah.
The episode handles really the technical side that comes with the fun of what today is, enjoying them on a Saturday morning.
Right. And I'm going to have to go find Samir out here someplace place too.
He's summer. I saw his cars rolling.
and being here. But go back to your vision for what this was originally and now what it's evolved into the fourth year.
Well, I'll tell you what, if 4 years ago, if you would have told me or really any of our foundation committee that this is what it would become, I think we would have probably laughed a little bit. I don't think we ever anticipated that this show would grow quite this large. I tell a little bit of this story on the episode that you referenced, but basically what this happened over COVID. We were sitting right up here in our conference room as a foundation team, and this was right when all of our events had been canceled. The galas, the golf outings, everything was canceled. And I had grown up, with my dad John, going to car shows. Ever since even before I was 16, I think. I was going to Supercar Saturdays, ironically right down the road here in South Barrington. And it was just something that I really loved to do. And so we're sitting out there during COVID when the world was shut down, and we're going, these organizations still need fundraising, and how can we continue to support these organizations? So I joke that I kind of, sheepish or cheekily looked out into the parking lot. I was like, wait a minute. What if we did a car show? Right. Kind of jokingly. And I believe it was you. You're like, wait a minute, James. Like, come on, let's unpack that for a minute. And we just kind of workshopped it, and we put a committee together. And the first year, we actually did it in where we have the spectators parking now. It was, I don't want to say a shocking success, because there was a tremendous amount of planning that went into it. But ever since then, it's really become quite a tradition. Yeah. It's our fourth year. You can probably tell from the camera, from all the cars coming in behind us, this is by far our biggest year. We sold out this year many days ago, actually. Yeah. We actually had to close registration because we want the experience to remain elevated, right? I've been to a lot of car shows where you're frustrated and you don't know where to go, and it's not a good experience. And I've been to some shows that have been really well organized, and my dream was always to have a really well organized show. Yeah. And
everything we do, right, has got to be
everything we do. We have to do with that level of excellence, and so we put the team behind it. And I hope you can hear us with the cars tearing out right now. Right. But the team, it's all hands on deck. It really is probably about a 6-month process that it takes to really put this on. And I think this morning you see the execution of it. And I think that just really goes to show that when you really put a good plan together, you have a good team, you can have a tremendous event like this. Assuming that the weather works out the way that we hoped it was. We got a little bit of rain for like 30 seconds. I said the rain tickled us for just a minute, and then it went away, and now we have sunshine. So I couldn't be happier.
And it's turned into such a community event, right? I mean, the cars even come from out of state for it. But
so we have 16 cars here that came down as a group from Wisconsin.
Yeah.
And that's just one example of one that I'm aware of. I'm sure there's other stories of that, but I mean, that's how the footprint of this event
continues to expand. Yeah. And in the community side of it, because, I mean, the interaction with the police, right? Security's a big deal for us being here with the cars.
Yep, when everyone to be safe, big scale
everybody be
event.
safe, right? And cars coming and going. But the police even come back and are like, we're looking forward to Clearwater's car show.
I had a moment where I'm driving down the road and a cop came up on me. I was in my sports car and I got a little nervous. I'm like, oh no, was I speeding? What did I do? He rolled his window down and he goes, can't wait for your show. I'm like, all right, that's just a weird example of how much this show is grown.
Right,
yeah.
and some people would think, okay, you know what? These cars coming together are problems for police. It's like, not at all.
Not when there's a good plan.
Not
when there's a good plan and it's pre-discussed and everyone follows the rules to the best that they can.
Yeah.
Everyone keeps it safe. We keep moving, and at the end of the day, we come together for 3 amazing charities and raise a record-breaking amount of charitable dollars. This morning.
Well, I've heard some side discussions that we will not talk about yet. Right? That'll come out in the future.
I can say that we have safely cemented a record year of fundraising.
Already.
Easily.
Yeah. And so if individuals listening to this, because we'll leave the window open even beyond today, individuals that step back because they're hearing from the 3 charitable beneficiaries. Yeah. The life change that's taking place that was expressed. So grateful for the sponsors that have come alongside. Yeah. If somebody reaches back and says, listen, I want to contribute to what you're doing, how would they do that?
Yeah, well, we had a little bit of that last year. Actually, speaking of one of the people that we spoke about on our last podcast, this is a gentleman who organizes the Ultimate Road Rally event, in which we did the cruise with the kids, the Cal's Angels kids. So if you're watching and not just listening, that's the guy who puts it on. That's Omar.
Oh wow, fantastic.
I'm sorry, where were we? I got distracted.
If somebody listening in after today wants to get back.
So luckily we had that. I don't want to call it a problem. We had that opportunity last year where people came back after the show. They're like, hey, I didn't get a chance to stop by the booth. Boom, boom, boom. They can still go to ccbwealth.com/2024 car show. That's where all the photos are going to be posted from today. That's where all the red carpets are going to be posted. That's where our after movie, all that's going to be posted on there. And we're going to keep that donate link live probably the next few weeks at least, so people can trickle in some last-minute donations.
Terrific.
Yeah.
Fantastic day.
Yeah.
Hope you got your breather in terms of being here.
This is my breather. John, I'm happy it was next to you.
Well done. Great
Thanks.
individuals, the people that have been coming through. Again, so grateful for the sponsors that have stepped into this record-breaking year of fundraising.
We couldn't do it without the sponsors. I mean, when we are fortunate enough to have dollars raised to the scale that we have, it's our sponsors. It's our hyper sponsors, some of which you've interviewed. They've come back multiple years. We have some new ones like Sulkar Media. I mean, it really is all because of the sponsorships, and it couldn't be possible without them.
Yeah, and the list of sponsors is also on the website.
It's on the website. We have features for the hyper sponsors. We've got everyone's logo up there if you want to check them out. We've got some tremendous businesses. I mean, all the way down from Boulder Landscaping up to Bentley Gold Coast. It really is quite a diverse group of people, but all that same charitable mind though that all of them bring to the table and come out here and spend their Saturday morning and their company's dollars. Yeah. It's amazing.
Yeah, and the relationship that we have organizationally with a lot of the families, these business owners, it extends in so many different ways, right? It's not just about the cars.
Yeah.
It's not just about the day job and the serving of the families, but how that comes back into community and having this community event.
That's huge.
So well done. Thank you for the vision. Thank you for the leadership.
And thank you to the Chicago car community for coming out. I mean, we can put on as cool of an event as we can, but at the end of the day, if people don't wake up at 7 a.m. and make it out here by 9, none of this is able to happen. So, I mean, it's a huge shout out to the Chicago car community. I said it in last year's podcast. I think Chicago has one of the most underrated car scenes. I mean, when you think of cars, you think of LA, Miami, things. It's Chicago.
Yeah.
You don't see this. You don't see this is amazing. We got the Perillo brought out the Lamborghini Revolto, which I don't know if you noticed that.
Caesar was talking about it. Caesar was telling us about it.
That was a showstopper. We had 2 local Bugattis that came with the Midwest group. I mean, it's amazing. It's amazing the showing up that we get here.
So if people are thinking about bringing their car next year, it closed down.
Here's what I'll say.
Right?
Register early. Register early. We open up registration about 3 months in advance. Many of the people here registered 3 months ago. And we did have to close it. So my advice would be, if this is something you're interested in coming to, if you got a cool car you want to come share, you want to come donate, register early so I can make sure that I can secure you a spot. Otherwise, I can only do the best. We can only do the best we can.
And the target weekend always is this weekend in June.
It's the first weekend of June.
The first full weekend in June, right? It wasn't the first last week, but it's this first full weekend in June.
Yep.
So people should check their calendars, block it, schedule it.
Follow us on Instagram, CSP Wealth. That's our Instagram. That's kind of the main hub of all of our car show announcements. We push it to Facebook and LinkedIn, but Instagram, that's where most of this
comes from.
Group organizes. That's where to follow us. That's where to find us.
Terrific. James, get back to it.
All right,
Thank you again for everything.
Thanks for the breather. I appreciate it.
All right. So next up, I'm going to bring in Kris Biggs here. Kris, great seeing you.
Good to see you, sir.
Gosh, thank you so much for joining us.
No problem.
Want to steal a couple minutes?
Sure.
Because I know you're busy, right?
We are busy. We're out here trying to keep everybody safe.
If I
don't do my job, then James is going to get upset. So.
Well, we talk about, security's a big deal, right? Actually, James and I were talking about the police, the security, and you've got the private security detail that's here with these cars and what's taking place. So thank you. You've been with us since the very first year that we did this and every year since. Team's fantastic. And let's keep everybody safe that way, too.
Yeah, and I think that, we've watched this car show grow exponentially over the years. In the first year, we were on the other lot over there. We filled up very quickly. We moved to this side, and you just watch this car show grow year after year. And that's a testament really to what Clearwater Capital does. You look at this being a benefit. And I think that, me wanting to bring more and more security people out here, it is to keep people safe. I think the biggest thing is safety. People, these days, and I think that a lot of people don't always feel safe, especially when they come to an event like this. So you bring in off-duty officers, and there's other uniform officers that are here. But then you have officers that are here that have worked law enforcement for 15, 20, 25 years.
Right.
So and then I also bring in some younger kids and stuff like that are in college and things of that nature that also are getting into the business. So it's a wide range of people that I bring along with me.
And you've got a great relationship with the police. We have the police presence on site. But given your background, your history, your professional career, you've got a great relationship with them, and it ends up being a really safe event, right? And keeping it that way is 100%. So important for everybody.
It is.
Because without that, you have nothing.
You have a lot of pedestrians, a lot of kids out here.
Yeah.
And, look out. Hold on. See, I'm always looking.
Yeah.
I'm always looking. I don't want nobody getting hurt. So, all right, there we go.
Case in point, the guys are on it. Well, so share with listeners a little bit your organization, your company, and what it is, because you're retained with us for today's event. You provided private security for us and other events,
I've been doing private security for about 23, 24 years. My business is CMB Consulting and Protection Services, and what we do is pretty much high-end executive service, protection, bodyguard service, things like that. But it's at the same time, I'll do events like this. I'll do events that don't involve like alcohol and things of that nature. I'd rather just do nice family events. I don't really want to be involved in. We're not bouncers, so some of us will travel with clients, things of that nature. If they need us to go to New York or wherever it may be with them, or Chicago, and provide them the best protection we can.
Right, and so people are whether traveling on their jet, or they're flying into town and they want security with them when they're going into Chicago, whatever it might be, right?
Yeah.
They can come up. So how do they find you then too? Is there a website?
Well, you can reach me at my email address, which is cmbiggs34@gmail.com. I can be reached on my cell phone at 630-768-1850. I don't do a website, and the reason why I don't is because most people who are looking for this type of protection are not going on Facebook or the internet looking for personal protection.
Yeah, and so
it's more word of mouth.
The correct spelling of Biggs then too is
B as in boy, I as in Ida, G as in George, G as in George, S as in Sam. So cmbiggs34@gmail.com.
Terrific. Thank you for stopping by.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate
I'll let you get back
time.
to it to keep you safe.
Yeah, that almost fell. See, you almost got me in trouble. You almost got me in trouble. Good to see you.
Yeah, right.
All right.
I'll get blamed for that too.
All right.
Thanks a lot. So next thing I'm going to call in Greg Davis, one of our partners at Clearwater Capital and also the executive director of the Clearwater Capital Foundation. Greg, thanks so much for joining me in here.
It's great to be here. Thank you so much.
And being here. So the time is kind of winding down, right?
Yes.
So it's a busy day. You're getting your bottle of water, taking a little bit of a break. So thanks for joining me for a few minutes.
Thank you.
Just to zoom out really quickly, Greg, what does today mean to you personally?
Personally, John, being part of the foundation, just being the executive director now, that is such a huge honor. And giving back to the community is what it's all about. And this day represents just one piece of the overall financial piece of what we're trying to do with the foundation of giving back. But this is just one of the things we do. But what an awesome event. Just think 4 years ago, we started this event, and it's just grown. James had this vision, and it's just grown. But giving back to the community is what it's all about. We have 3 incredible organizations we're supporting here, and they're getting more and more benefit from it. The awareness we're providing, these great organizations that serve so many needs in our community. We're just scratching the surface on what we can do, but having the foundation as that conduit to help these great organizations and many others also in our communities that we work and we live in, it's so important. That's what the foundation is all about. It's giving back, and that's one of the reasons I love being executive director now. I've been grant committee chairman, and it's just a great place to be in. It's one of the reasons I came to Clearwater many years ago, is how we give back to the community. It's so important.
Yeah, and we like to think of it as it's part of our DNA, right? It's part
really
of the.
is.
You talk about culture building, you talk about giving back, you talk about people's values, the character. We can do all the technical heavy lifting that we need to do, but to come back at the core of who we are as individuals and as a team. And I think the team really rallies around this day too.
Oh, absolutely, John. I mean, being on the car show committee, I know that there are so many little details and tasks, and James had this vision 4 years ago, and he had an idea of being a car show person way back when, a car person. He had this vision on what it could become, and everybody on the team participates. Everybody has a role. This couldn't happen without our team. And everything from organizing the porta potties to just the traffic flow.
Right.
There's so many cars
all the
here.
dirty details that come into it.
Exactly. And but we've been blessed with great weather, and I think we probably doubled just in the last year or two the amount of cars here, the amount of people, and giving awareness. But the primary responsibility, I think, for us as a foundation is to provide awareness in the community of these great organizations that are here and what they're doing in our backyard to fill so many needs. And this is about the charities and bringing awareness, not only financial support, which we are a conduit to those charities to provide, but also awareness on what they're doing on a daily basis to make our world and our communities a better place to live.
Yeah, absolutely. You know? Well, in the 3 charities, I had a chance to speak to the 3 different representatives earlier, from Fellowship Housing, from A Giving Heart, and also from Bridge Youth and Family Services. And you also serve on the board of Bridge, right? And you've done that for quite some time.
16 years now, if you can believe it. And I've had various committee positions, chair positions, and living in Palatine for 25 plus years now, and where the Bridge is located, I've seen firsthand just the transformational change that they've made in young kids' lives. And it doesn't matter where you live, John. It could be your next door neighbor or somebody on the other side of town. But I've seen the great work that the therapists do, and Kris and her team. They just do wonderful work. And it really it's touched my heart for such a long time. And I still love to be a part of the overall Bridge family. And it's an honor to have them here as one of the 3 primary beneficiaries, alongside Fellowship Housing, the great work that they do, and Giving Heart. What great organizations that we're so fortunate to be able to support.
Well, and as we work with client families, right, in the complexity of their estate structure and their philanthropic gifting and how they're approaching, their life and their goals and their legacy building aspects. One of the things that we reinforce often is, good giving is hard, right?
Yes, exactly.
To really do your due diligence on the right organizations. But just writing a check sometimes isn't enough. Where and how do you get involved in the right way? And good giving requires an intimate understanding and relationship in order to be strategic about that. And I think about, James's involvement with on the board, right? Because James is on the board of A Giving Heart. Your involvement on the board of Bridge, and the multifaceted relationships that we have, and the involvement and the deep involvement back with Fellowship Housing. Absolutely. It just allows for us to be giving with confidence in stewardship, right? Because we take care of the cost, but every dollar is coming from sponsors, from people driving in today and handing off checks saying, I want to keep supporting what's going on because you vetted great organizations. I want to be a part of that. Exactly. We need to steward that, right? We need to make sure that those organizations, so the involvement, the depth, the being on the board allows for us to step back with confidence going, that stewardship and how it's being deployed is getting to the place where it's making a difference in people's lives.
Absolutely.
And that's what we want to do in the foundation.
Absolutely. And I mean, thank you too for really starting the idea of having a strategic plan for our foundation. Because once we grew to a certain point, we needed to get more organized, more focused. And we have 3 main pillars to which we direct the majority of our gifts, not all of them, but we had to be focused, right? Yeah. As we grow as a team, as we grow in the dollars that we're contributing personally into the foundation, but also through events like this, we're like, okay, we really we can't be scattered. We have to focus. So we focused on 3 primary areas, and that's women and girls, people in need, and our nation's veterans. And all of us have close connections to those areas in some form or fashion. Not to say that we don't contribute in other areas which are near and dear to our hearts, but we did need to be focused. So thank you for coming up with that strategic plan idea and bringing Heather Larson in to counsel us through that process too. Look at what we've become too. And we're just started. We just feel like we scratched the surface.
That's come up a few times, right? We're just getting started.
Exactly.
The difference that can be made, and through great people and great community and being here. And Greg, thank you for, being a partner in this firm, for the people that you're serving, right? And the difference you're making in their lives directly, giving your professionalism, your technical competency, your understanding that you're bringing to them first, and then the benefit of that is the ability to give back to the community broadly in this way, and also to give of your time as executive director of the Clearwater Capital Foundation and also at Bridge. Proud to know you, proud to be working alongside you and the people that we're serving, Greg.
Thank you, John.
So thank you, and thanks for stopping by.
Thank you so much.
It's an
honor and a pleasure.
More people you got to talk to out in the lot, too.
Well, thank you for doing this live podcast, too. This is so meaningful to get connections with everybody and have them voice what's going on in their worlds. So thank you so much.
As everybody's running their engines, you're getting a wrap up here, too.
Exactly. So. It is a car show.
Exactly. Thank you again, Greg. Take care. Take care. Thank you again for tuning in to this special episode of Entrepreneurial Legacies. It's so meaningful, and hopefully the stories that you've been listening to from the charitable beneficiaries, and the life change that's happening from the funds that are being raised, it makes a difference. We want that for ourselves. We want that for the families we serve at Clearwater Capital, and to be able to give back and have a life-changing impact to individuals that we'll never know that are benefiting from the work being done by these 3 wonderful charities is so meaningful and purposeful in what we do. And we are so grateful for all of the sponsors that have come alongside. And so I just want to take a moment and read through the list of sponsors. You've met 3 of them earlier today. One being the Perillo Auto Group, Sulkar Media, Midwest Anesthesia and Pain Specialists. We also have a support from Wisdom Tree, Urban Street, the Karani Family Foundation, Davis Giving Fund, Hartman Electric, Keeley Construction, Lavelle Law, ALG Worldwide Logistics, Arrakis, Boulder Landscape, Sky Balance Med Spa, the Boathouse of Chicago, Vertiport Chicago, Carbon Pickle, the Charles Schwab Foundation, and Prairie Capital Advisors. If I've missed anyone, it's with my sincerest apologies, because without your sponsorship, this impact at the life change through these charities couldn't happen. And there's a lot of individuals and names that aren't there as official sponsors, but we know have been donating and contributing to all the work being done. They're being inspired by the work of the Clearwater Foundation and through these sponsors and through the organization. So if you'd like to donate and contribute, we encourage that. We highlight it. We're inspired by the families we serve and their philanthropy. And if you're looking for a great organization to give to, please give us a call. Please contact us. Please go to the website, and we can help you think through how you make investments in organizations that make life change for individuals that you may never know. Thank you again for listening to this special edition, getting a glimpse into it. And next time, if you weren't here following up and listening, make sure you make an appointment on your calendar for next year's 5th annual Supercar Show for Charity, and come on out and check out these awesome machines. With that, have a blessed day, and thank you very much.